The Global Gender Gap Report of 2016 states that it will be 170 years before the gender divide completely closes.
The gender pay gap in the workplace is currently 17.9% in Australia.
The average pay for women in 2017 was $12,000, compared to $21,000 for men.
Hi, I'm Bethany.
I'm Ellen.
I'm Tian.
And I'm Simone. And our topic for City Week is women working in male-dominated industries.
Looking at the history and future, the gender divide, and what we can do to improve equality in the workplace.
Women experience unconscious bias commonly in the workplace. These are learned stereotypes that are automatic and unintentional.
Over the many years, we have developed these cultural norms and social norms, so accepted ways of being. And so these make sense for us people because we're actually quite simple beings. And over time we sort of perpetuate these norms and they become a normal part of our daily lives.
The first thing you think of when you think of a mathematician, and not a mathematician so much, but say a scientist, is you think of a male, always, even if you're female, because that's how we've been programmed.
It's normal for us to make assumptions that a doctor is a male. It's normal for us to make an assumption that an engineer is a male. It's normal for us to make an assumption that a builder is a male, and that a nurse is a female, for example, a teacher is a female. And I think over time, so these assumptions are so ingrained in us, we don't even notice.
Most people tend to go with the norm, and so they'll go with the norm. This is what girls do, this is what boys do.
When I was overseas on deployment, I was put into male quarters because my name was written as Dr. Cully, and I arrived to the location and they said, oh, you're a Dr. Cullick. I'm like, yes. And they're like, oh, sorry, ma'am, we've put you into the male quarters because they thought I was a guy because it could not possibly a girl to be a doctor, right?
The unconscious bias is formed outside our own conscious awareness, and everyone has their own unconscious beliefs. It doesn't matter what your thought is, it matters what you choose to do with that thought that matters.
The gender divide is the difference between men and women, including the gender pay gap and the gender ratios in workplaces.
All of the males got paid double the amount of money I got paid. Double.
That was in the 1970s. And since then, Australia's gender pay gap has been shrinking. In South Australia, it reached a 9.8% difference this year.
At DST, Defence Science and Technology Group, it's probably at about 15 to 20%.
There are two houses in Parliament. In terms of female representation in the lower house, unfortunately, it's actually, instead of going up, it's gone down. But in the upper house, in the last session of Parliament, we have only 23% of representation. But after this year's election, it's 32% in the upper house. So there is a slight improvement.
Fundamentally, I think the root of the problem is in childhood, and that's going to be so difficult to change. We have to sort of restructure all of society in order to do that.
Andre Simpian did a study at the New York University looking at 400 children from the ages of 5 to 7 and found that as a society we associate a high level of intellectual ability with males more than females, and our research suggests that this association is picked up by children as young as 6 and 7.
If you've got little children, sometimes it's really hard to work 24/7, but we're getting more flexible about working arrangements and part-time and time off and all of that. It's got much better. The strategy was to recruit more people, more women at the bottom, and hopefully that would mean more people throughout the organisation would be women, it would transition through.
But there's still a long way to go in organisations. What I'm seeing is that we get up to 20% and then we fall back to 16%, then we get up to 21%, then we fall back to 17%.
If it isn't kind of balanced in a sense, it might result in some organisations or some cultures or some industries not to benefit as much as it could if there was the diversity of opinion, diversity of ideas, diversity of thought, experience from perspectives of different genders but also different cultures, I think.
We are all trying to do our best to reach that level of equal representation.
So what can we do to make a change?
I think it takes positive reinforcement almost every day.
You guys wouldn't be doing this project if we haven't recognised that this is an issue or a problem going into the future. So I think that's the first thing that we need to do, like recognise that there is an issue.
The more we can get industry and schools and universities working together, I think that's going to improve it.
You know, it'll be a really good day when there's no conversations about that everybody is just treated on their own merits. I don't think we're there yet.
So we've seen some changes, but nowhere near where we thought we should be at 2018.
Maybe it's fathers who will probably change the system in the end. You know, women, it's very difficult for women to change the system because it is so male-dominated, but maybe those men who don't want their daughters to be disadvantaged might change the system.
Do we really want to wait 170 years before we are all considered equal?